Coventry City FC sadly didn't make it to the playoff finals, but what would their matchday graphic look like if they did? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what Coventry's current matchday graphics look like, and I'm going to try and create my own rendition of one, using a similar style to what they currently use, while also improving on the elements of the graphic that I feel could be improved. I'm keeping it the same style, just to show how a few small tweaks can improve a sports graphic significantly.
Tung 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 sahur. Anomali mengerikan yang hanya keluar pada sahur konon kata.
First of all, before I even start the video, I just want to preface this analysis by saying I'm in no way showing hate to the person or people behind Coventry's matchday graphics or discrediting their work, but I'm going to be speaking from designer to designer, and from my perspective, there are a few things that can be improved with this graphic. So let's go straight through to what exactly is going on. Okay, so this background, I don't know what this pattern is in the background, so I can't really replicate it.
What is this? What is this? For what? Why?
The composition is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with this comp at all. Like, you know, you got Sunderland Stadium here. The clouds, I mean, like, we're Sky Blue Army, so like sky, clouds, whatever. It's a nice little motif. My main issue is execution in terms of player images. For example, let's zoom in, let's take a look. First of all, some of these cutouts are not the best. You can see here in between Haji Wright and Redoni's hair, there's a bit of background left here. Like, you can see that very clearly. So again, the cutouts are not the best. It's blurred like here towards the edges for every single image. I don't know if this is a stylistic choice. I think it is, because they do it on the text as well. You can see here, it's like blurred compared to here. For whatever reason, I have no idea. I think it's just part of their branding. It's not something I would put personally. But again, here on Sims, you can see like these like black outlines that usually come when you're using select subject. And finally, the floor shadow. This floor shadow, yeah, it is not the one. Also, this ball right here, let me do that. This ball right here, you can very clearly tell that that is not meant to be part of the main image. Like, you can just tell. They haven't tried to put no shadows, no anything on it to make it look semi-blended into this image of Thomas Asante. There's not too much wrong with the matchday text, to be honest. Like, at the end of the day, it's functional. It displays all the information you could possibly need, which is the most important part of a matchday graphic. But yeah, my aim for today is to try and make my own rendition of a Coventry matchday graphic, obviously fit for a playoff final, and try and improve on these areas that, you know, I talked about, these things that are lacking in Coventry sort of current matchday graphics.
This is my name, Tatsuhiro Sakamoto. New contract.
Right, so I've cut out and made a little comp right here because no one wants to see me cutting out images. So first of all, they have this blue background, but for now, I think we're gonna try and get some sort of like gradient going. Yeah, we'll go with this. I'm just gonna manually make a gradient. See, I kind of wanna do something like this. I kind of want it not really to be a light source, but just like the lighter part of the gradient to kind of be in the corner like this. Now, dark. We get a bit of darkness in it. I think the direction to go with this, I think we sort out the player images first, because as you can see, the main areas of improvement is the player images themselves. So I think if we tackle that, then we can get all of this cool, you know, matchday text and other little details in after that. So obviously I've cut all these out. Before I even start retouching or anything, I want a little camera raw filter on them. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy paste it to all the other ones and then pray it looks cohesive.
A few moments later.
That's a bit better. No, I'm just looking at the difference between his values and Redoni's. Now Redoni's got this really harsh highlight here, so I want to try and remove that.
More moments later.
Alright, so I've gone through and put a camera raw filter on everyone. I've tried to adjust the shirt color to be as similar as I can, and now all we need to do is we just need to start doing retouches, which is something that this very heavily lacked. As you can see, I forgot to mention it, No retouching done whatsoever. The skin tones, the sort of skin value, they don't match up. Ella Sims' skin is this like really ugly yellowy greenish tone, when in camera raw or using selective color you can easily adjust this to be more orange reddish, which is more, if you look at Equals, it's more like that. But as you can see, everyone's skin tone is fairly similar. They've all got this like slightly reddish tint to it. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. With this Sakamoto image, the original image I'll put up on screen here, it does not have this ball right here. I actually took the ball from a different image and put it onto here. As you can see, it does look fairly convincing in comparison to this, where it just looks like the ball has just been slapped on. But it already looks a lot more convincing, and this is without any sort of lighting, shadows, anything. Just picking a better ball image than just this flat sort of studio lighting stock photo image of a ball just makes it look so much more realistic. So now we're gonna start retouching all of these guys.
Well, you can tell everybody. Yeah, you can tell everybody.
Alright, so we have all of my retouching sort of layers here. So I'm just gonna copy paste them onto everyone. Boom, 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 boom. How have I missed? Boom. And just like that, here's the before, and here is the after. You see what a few layers of just retouching can do to an image? It just makes it look so much more lively and so much less flat. And now I have to repeat this process for every single one of these guys. So let's go do that.
More moments later.
That is a bad one.
That is a bad one.
It can.
It can.
Let's add some glows. Yeah, glows are definitely needed. We need some sort of like light behind these guys. And also helps for separation. This tiny little detail, it just looks so much nicer. It just adds more depth, which is really nice. And also for these images more in the front, putting glow also acts like a separation sort of barrier between the sort of layers. So you have Lampard at the topmost, furthest backmost layer, and then he's obviously separated by a bit of glows coming here behind Sheaf and Bobby Thomas. Just that little bit of glow just separates Lampard from these two layers, and it will separate him from Thomas Asante and Eccles here, and it will separate them from Mason Clark and Rodoni here, and it will separate Sakamoto. So it kind of creates this illusion of depth, even though it's still like a flat composition.
One eternity later.
Well, that took absolutely ages, but I'm finally done. But honestly, I just wanted to get the render work out of the way so that we can get to actually adding some interesting stuff to the background. Because right now, this is looking plain. One thing I will say though, the render treatment is a huge improvement from this straight away. These floor shadows, first of all, are a lot more realistic, if I do say so myself. I mean, I made them myself. I mean, they're a lot better compared to this. That's all I'm saying. The use of retouching to accentuate those shadows and highlights, it just feels a lot less flat. Whereas this is just normal images taken, cut out, slapped in there.
We're in public. Summertime fine.
I want to put something here. In fact, I found an image of Wembley. I don't know how we can make this work, but I want to somehow make them not disappear. Like, I could do this, and I could put Wembley in front of them. Obviously, this this is a bit of a problem. I'll find a way to get rid of that. Right, that fills up the space a lot nicer and gets rid of this gradient that we had Redoni sort of fading into. To further blend this in, I think I'm gonna... Whoa. Frank, you okay?
The next day.
Okay, so this is what we've ended up with. I've put it just in front of Redoni and Mason Clark, just so that end between the Redoni image and just that little gradient isn't really visible. And also Wembley is sort of blended in, but it's not too blended in. As you can see, this is what it would have been without any blending. I've just put a little hue saturation layer to make these bits blue instead of red, and then a gradient map sampling all the colors of the background that I already used. Obviously, if the match was being held, it would have been played at Wembley, and so you want Wembley to be sort of at the forefront of the graphic, but you don't want it to look too out of place. Hence why I've put this gradient map here to sort of blend it more into the background, because I want the players and the composition to be at the forefront and I want them to be visible the most. So now that the main composition is all sorted, let's start to work on the background. So first of all, these clouds, we need to put a bunch of these clouds in. Now I could take an image of a cloud and like cut it out and then refine the edge and then put it in, but I cannot be bothered. So I present to you cloud brushes. I'm going to try and make this work. Right, so I need to get like, yeah, like something like this. Like, but like not, more like sideways, right? It kind of looks more like smoke than it looks like a cloud right now. So after a few tweaks, this is what I've ended up with. The clouds still look a little bit like smoke, but it's good enough, man. So next we need the Matchday details. I don't know if I want to put this big old Matchday text like here, because I think one, it gets in the way of Wembley, and two, I think the composition itself takes up most of the image already, so we don't really need to fill up all of this space. Here it's kind of used as a divider to divide Sims and this stadium from the sort of front of the image. But here I have Wembley that basically does the same thing, but I'll still put in the rest of the information because obviously this is a Matchday graphic. You need the information in there because that's the primary purpose of a Matchday graphic. Haji mid. Cov badge. Where's the Cov badge? Boom. Right, so I've got the badges. Now a little box that we can put both of the badges into. Kind of like how Man City does theirs. Actually, exactly how Man City does theirs. I just think it looks nicer, and I think it will fit this sort of graphic a bit more than just having like regular badges just whacked in there. Bro, this just looks like the Polish flag. What have I done?
Let's go.
Now, because the badges are already here and it'll be posted on social media, so all the information will probably be in the caption anyway, I don't really think it's necessary to put the team versus the team, but I'll still put the kickoff time, the stadium and everything. I'll probably put it down here because again, there's nowhere really else to put it. There's also these birds and this plane that they've kind of added in, so I might as well just add them in as well. Here's the birds. We just flip them, make them a bit smaller. I'll probably remove some of them. There's way too many. Wait, look. But it's literally the exact same image. Very convenient. That's basically the same picture, I think. Or at least it's close enough. Alright, let's make it really tiny. Yeah, I think that's small enough. Now we just need to add the little smoke sort of trail going behind it. There's not really a... This is kind of just a faded line. I want to see if I can use like an actual smoke brush to see if that will help make it like even slightly more realistic. Now let's try and slightly paint a bit. Yeah, see, just with the smoke brush you can tell that's already looking a lot more. There's a lot more life in it. There's a lot more texture rather than just being a straight line that's just like faded out. And there we go. I think that looks a little bit better than just this, because this is just a straight line that's been like slightly blurred. Yeah, let me fix up these clouds because they are looking a bit terrible. Alright, now with those added details, it is looking a lot closer to what this looked like. As you can see, it's a very similar style, but I still think it's lacking some of the detail. Like for example, there's the kit pattern in the background here, I don't have access to that, so I can't really put it in. But I think it just needs some sort of detail and maybe some patterns in the background. So I think first we're going to try putting a very subtle grass image underneath Sakamoto. Got the grass image perspective, and we try and match it a bit more. Yeah, we're going to fade it out anyway. Apply the same gradient map that I did for Wembley. Use a soft flat brush like this and just try and bring some of it back, just so the ground doesn't look too plain and empty. It's kind of some grass for him to stand on. So now there's at least a bit more texture in the ground, so it kind of looks like he's standing on something, whereas he's just standing on a blank block of color. What I'm going to try to maybe do is duplicate the Cov badge here and put it in the background. Maybe experiment with a few blend modes, see if it looks any good. Maybe something like this, and then we can erase some parts of it so it's not too visible. Very nice, very subtle in the background, just to bring out a bit more detail so the background just doesn't look extremely plain. Before, after. See, that does add a bit. Again, I still do want the composition to stand out, hence why I haven't really put any other details. And there's not really much space to fill with this because most of the space is already filled. And I think we are pretty much done. As I said, I want to keep it simple. So I think we're just going to end it with a few color lookups, camera raw filter, a few glows here and there. And I think we should be good. With a white color fill layer set to overlay. Just a few little glows to accentuate the sort of highlights and the glows that are already in the background. And there we go. This is the final result that we've ended up with. Let me know what you think. Obviously, this isn't the greatest matchday graphic in the world, I know that. But the whole premise of this video was me essentially taking this concept and refining it and using my design abilities to make my own rendition. All the elements here are the same. You know, I've kept the clouds, I've kept all this sort of composition, the stadium image and everything. So I hope I stayed true to the style. But as I said, I hope you guys did enjoy. Once again, I'm not undermining the work of Coventry's designers at all. I'm just here making my own rendition of what Coventry graphics usually look like and trying my best to improve on the areas that I think need improving. Once again, here is the before and here is the after. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all of that, and I'll see you in the next one.